Communication lines with China wide open, while at the same time committing to the Philippines' alliance with the United States. The scheduled airspace shutdown on May 17, meant to make way for maintenance work, has been shortened from 6 to just 2 hours. And in about half an hour, the Southeast Asian Games opening ceremony is happening in Cambodia. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. President Bongbong Marcos says that Philippine troops will not be deployed in the event war ensues between the U.S. and China over Taiwan. Maricel Halili with the details.
Well, the short answer is no. The United States has never said that this is a possibility, and we have also made it clear from our end that we will. This is not the purpose of those sites.
This was the quick reply of President Bongbong Marcos when asked if the United States is expecting Filipino troops to be deployed. This is in the event of the U.S. and Chinese conflict blowing over on the issue of Taiwan. Before the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, the president reiterated the purpose of military bases in the Philippines under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA. The chief executive clarified that EDCA sites are there to facilitate response to calamities and are not launching pads for any attacks against any country.
The EDCA sites were meant to be conceptualized really to be the places that we could use so as to be able to provide quicker relief, quicker rescue, do a better job, in other words, of rehabilitating and reconstructing the damage that will be caused by these disasters. That's really the basic premise of the EDCA sites. The United States will use the EDCA sites as staging areas for any offensive action against any country.
But as relations between the Philippines and the United States grow warmer by the day, there's China that remains cold to the idea of partnerships playing out at the expense of peace in already tensed regions. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said that they are opposed to any alliances aimed at meddling in territorial disputes, insisting that the South China Sea is not a hunting ground for any nation. President Marcos is all for the resolution of sea disputes through keeping lines of communication open, even a direct hotline between Manila and Beijing.
I suggested that we institute a system wherein we have a direct contact, one president to the other. If I cannot speak, for example, to President Xi himself, I have someone that I can pick up the phone and call who I know and I have confidence in making my message arrive to the president. And this works, of course, both ways.
Marcos Jr. also did not feel alluded to by the recent statement of China.
I think that kind of statement was directed more towards the United States than it was for the Philippines. I think the Philippines' actions are in continuing to strengthen our capabilities, to continue to find and forge partnerships with the United States, and both in the governmental sector and also with the private corporations that we have spoken to.
On the Mutual Defense Treaty, President Marcos said defense bilateral guidelines have been laid out to clarify rules on the pact's implementation. He noted, though, that the provisions of the 1951 MDT remain intact and unchanged.
We're not yet there. What we did in this trip and what we have managed to formulate are the guidelines pa lang doon sa mga magiging provision at saka magiging detalye.
BBBM's 5-day official visit to Washington supposedly yielded investment pledges worth around $1.3 billion. Before ending his U.S. trip, the president honored unknown soldiers at the Arlington National Cemetery. From Washington, the president is off to the United Kingdom for the coronation of Britain's King Charles III.
Isa sa pinakamalaking dahilan kung bakit ako pupunta ay kilala namin si Prince Charles pa ang pagkakilala ko sa kanya. Namatay nga ang si Queen Elizabeth. Hindi ako nakapunta. Kaya sabi ko naman, ay palagay ko dahil magkakilala kami, dapat naman napakalaking bagay na siya'y kukoronahan bilang hari ng United Kingdom, ay dapat makapag-attend na ako.
On the sidelines of this historic event, for the British, President Marcus is expected to have informal talks with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and other leaders. The president will be in the UK until May 6th before flying back to Manila. For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
And the Philippine airspace shutdown scheduled for later this month has been shortened from 6 hours to just 2 hours. The maintenance activity will now be from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. on May 17. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, made this announcement after, quote, careful process reviews and simulations. It also said that contingency measures will be implemented to help minimize the shutdown's disruption to air traffic operations. The airspace closure will make way for the replacement of the uninterruptible power supply, or UPS, of the CAAP's air traffic management system, which caused massive flight glitches on New Year's Day. We have more stories for you after this short break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Here's the latest out of Cambodia, where the 32nd Southeast Asian Games are underway. Team Philippines has so far garnered 2 gold medals. But some bets have bowed out of competition, or out of contention, even before the formal opening of the Games in about half an hour. Justine Punsalang reports.
The Philippines racked up medals in the 32nd Southeast Asian Games in Cambodia. The country has so far copped 2 gold medals a day before the actual opening ceremony of the tournament today. First to get gold was jiu-jitsu bet Kyla Napolis. Napolis defeated hometown hero Jessa Khan in the women's Newaza 52-kilogram event. This was a payback of sorts for Napolis after Khan defeated her in a separate division in the 2019 Games, which was held here in the Philippines. Before reaching the gold medal match, the 25-year-old Napolis took down foes from Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Meanwhile, the jiu-jitsu team also won bronze medals, courtesy of brothers Harvey and Carl Navarro in the men's duo event, and the pair of Dayan Bargo and Isabella Montaña in the women's duo tournament. An hour after Napolis' gold moment, SEA Games first-timer Angel Derla tallied the country's second gold in the women's bamboo shield form event of the Cambodian martial art Kun Bokator. She defeated Chance Hovi Puth of Cambodia after putting up 8.5 points against Puth's 8.47. Aside from this, the country won 2 silvers and a bronze in Kun Bokator. 1 silver came from Mark Lacau in the men's single bamboo shield. The other one was from Richen Yosores for the women's single bare hands form. Kylie Malyade concluded the day with a bronze from the women's single Bokator spirit form event.
First one in the match so far. It's back to a 3-point game.
And the best for...
Meanwhile, the men's volleyball team crashed out of contention after getting swept by Cambodia 25-18, 25-18, and 25-17. The Philippines fell to an 0-2 record in Group A and will just try to end their campaign on winning note against also-ran Singapore this Saturday.
Chance here for Timor-Leste. There's the opener.
The men's football team has also fallen from the semi-final race of the SEA Games after losing to Timor-Leste 3-0. The young Ascals enter the game needing to win their 2 assignments against Timor-Leste and Myanmar, but Timor-Leste scored 15 minutes into the match, followed by 2 more goals in the 54th and 89th minutes. So far, the Philippines is second in the SEA Games medal tally with 7 total medals. Above them is host Cambodia with 5 golds and 4 silvers. And right below is Thailand with 1 gold, silver, and bronze each. For News 5, Justine Punsalang. We are One News.
From his 5-day official visit to the United States, President Bongbong Marcos is now off to the United Kingdom to witness the coronation of King Charles III. 2 hours ahead of his flight, Marcos Jr. told the media that he is looking forward to witnessing this historic event. The chief executive once again expressed regret over missing the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history. The president's sister, Irene Marcos Araneta, served as a special representative to the Queen's funeral last year.
Palagay ko, dahil magkakilala kami, dapat naman napakalaking bagay na siya'y kukoronahan bilang hari ng United Kingdom, ay dapat makapag-attend na ako.
Marcos Jr. is also expected to meet with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on the sidelines of the coronation. The president says talks will most likely center on economic issues as well as on the UK's rising demand for Filipino healthcare workers. And yes, King Charles III will be officially crowned tomorrow. Here's what you need to know about the coronation from the Associated Press.
In simple terms, the United Kingdom is crowning the king. But in fact, Charles is already the king because he became king when Queen Elizabeth II died in September. King Charles will be crowned at Westminster Abbey in what will essentially be an extravaganza. The ceremony will be followed by a procession from Westminster Abbey to Buckingham Palace and be capped off with an appearance on the balcony. People will see almost everything. They'll see the procession, they'll see the service, with the exception of the anointing. This is a sacred moment between Charles and the clergy that are present, and only those people will actually be able to see what happens. Of course, you'll see the moment that the crown is placed on Charles's head, but there'll also be some new elements. as Charles tries to reach out to the nation and prove that he will be the monarch of a much more diverse, multi-faith country. This is a really important moment for Charles. This is the moment where he faces the people and asks for their support. So really, he needs the crowds to come into the street. You're not the king unless the crowds support you. This is also really an important time for the monarchy. You know, support for the monarchy, opinion polls have shown over time, has been softening. And part of the reason that this is such a big moment is that the Queen reigned for so long. For 70 years, people didn't want to challenge anything about her because they had such great respect for all the work she had done for the country. So now, you know, there's a big question mark about what people really think. The coronation, like all other big royal events, is an opportunity to celebrate being British. These pageants are very much like the 4th of July in the United States or Bastille Day in France, you know, a moment to celebrate being part of the nation. At the same time, many people in this country are struggling with the cost of living crisis. It's really a difficult time for a lot of people. And many people are wondering whether the expense of this event is really worth it at a time when people are really unable to heat their homes and put food on the table. At the same time, there is hope that, you know, this time of national celebration, national unity will lift spirits and help people along in a time of real difficulty.
One News Now will be back tomorrow at 7:45 a.m. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News. All sides, all the time.